The game you knew changed in an instant. After a catastrophic earthquake event happens in the Iran-Iraq region, scavenged weapons and improvised vehicles become the last hope for the Battlefield 3 crew. Which makeshift weapon is the best path to winning? Well, the crossbow isn't even a prototype. It's jury-rigged on the battlefield. During the earthquake aftermath, the soldiers scavenged a crossbow with a receiver taken from an M417 marksman rifle that was attached to some wires and some scrap metal. Then they take C4, attaching it to the bolts for a high explosive effect, scanning electronic bolts to spot enemies and high velocity rounds for fast firing, and all with a Cobra red dot sight cherry on top. And in the earthquake-ravaged maps, the US Marines roll out a makeshift Humvee called the Phoenix. It's a combat vehicle jury-rigged with extra stitched parts, featuring a 360-degree machine gun and a fully automatic grenade launcher. You're meant to weave across the cracked streets and collapsed buildings. As with the other Humvees, one rocket and you risk death. It balances pure firepower with basic armor. It further represents the soldiers' desperation while they try to survive in the devastation and struggle for the territory. They are even exposed to shooters, which further shows the degrading nature of the war, where even basic protection becomes a luxury. The Phoenix was built for survival and necessity. The Russian crew also turned their Jeep into a combat-ready, three-man vehicle. The stripped-down Vodnik Jeep was transformed into the Badger, featuring a cord heavy machine gun and a fully automatic grenade launcher. The Badger was adapted to be a survival workhorse. However, its limited armor and exposed gunners continue to show their desperation of the war in the middle of urban destruction. In a world where military capabilities and logistics collapse along with all the buildings, even damaged equipment was necessary for continued fighting. And another car that the soldiers used is the Rhino van. It was retrofitted with some armor and a remote gun. That car perfectly fit the game's theme of fighting for survival, because with the non-existent military supply chains, the soldiers were forced to use civilian cars on the street. They put any piece of armor they could find on it. It's a four-man van with even less protection. The driver also has to control the gun, filling two different roles. It's like a combat van with scavenged parts. Replacing the small jeeps used in the war-torn collapsed city, they had to use anything to survive. I was driving in Epicenter and I kept getting stuck on the shattered ground. I think that design was intentional to represent the environmental destruction. The most powerful weapon in this expansion is the crossbow. Once you unlock it, it becomes a close-quarters monster. It can one-shot anybody that comes up to you. It doesn't even take up a weapon slot. You can quickly switch to the Xbow and quietly get people. And the improvised cars can smash through all the roadblocks seen on the maps and flank areas that wasn't even affected by the earthquake, using only the small pieces of road available. But weapon choice in Aftermath defines your whole squad's approach. You could choose to use a silent crossbow or blast through the streets with an armored car. The whole time, the earthquake-shattered streets demand constant attention. Collapsed buildings and aftershocks turn every fight into a battle with terrain. After an earthquake destroys our familiar battlefield, the streets turn into shattered ruins. Soldiers repurpose their entire arsenal to adapt to the collapsing world. And with all the crumbling buildings bringing the fight to the streets, survival meant using scrap metal with simple guns and cars. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe, and thank you for all the support.